I'm the bad guy, I'm a savage, I'm obsessive, I'm dramatic, I'm a loner, I'm an addict, I'm so goddamn problematic, I'm the bad guy.
Bad Guy is one of my favorite tracks that have come out in this hiatus that I've been on. So much fun to lift weights to this song. Totally in the movement. I'm like so dialed in for some reason. But today we're not checking out Fallen Universe because I've already heard it. Today we're gonna check out Dehumanized because I promised it in some of the recent videos. It's just me today because this was way too heavy for my partner Elizabeth. All right, so what do we know about? What do we know about Bring Me the Horizon? Basically, like, my favorite part of music in 2026 is that all of the rules are off. All the guides, all the tracks, all the gatekeepers, everything is done. Like, we are at a point in the music industry where guys like Machine Gun Kelly can publish a country track in the same week they're gonna publish a pop track and a rap track and a pop punk track and a metal track, and Bring Me the Horizon can do whatever they want too, you know? And what do we got? What do we got out here? You know, there's so many artists, like even Post Malone, like hip hop to country, and then just dominating the country scene. It's like all the rules, all the genre specific this, that are just like totally blended into one now, and music has just become music. I really love and appreciate that about the music industry in 2026. The rules are off. Anyone can break in, anyone can achieve the greatness, anyone can get noticed, can get recognized, can create something beautiful and be picked up for it. And like, if you're a band at home, you know, if you're an artist in this day and age, get stoked on that, you know? Like, a lot of guys I hear on TikTok, they're like standing there in front of the camera and they're like, can you believe I have to do a TikTok dance to get my music heard in 2026? But it's like, my guy, like, never before has there been such a large audience for music and such easily accessibility to that audience by the artist and to the people. Like, never before. Like, it used to be the case where like you'd write a song and over the course of like 4 years, maybe a couple hundred people would hear that song at a local club that you would play as an opener for some bands that were coming through. And nowadays you can write a track and the same day record a 30-second music video for the chorus and it explode online. I think it's beautiful. As a creator, as a content creator, there's no better time to be creating art than right now. So I'm really nervous to get into this song here today because Bring Me the Horizon started in this genre and then they took this wide pathway, this huge loop into this much more digestible for me personally. And don't get me wrong, like Count Your Blessings and all that, like I was around for those days and I was in high school when that stuff was popping off and that was what I was listening to at the time. It's true, you know, like back then I had Suicide Silence on the player, I had Bring Me the Horizon on the player, I had Cannibal Corpse on the player, I had all these bands, this heavy kind of vibe, I had this, you guys know, you've been here long enough, Whitechapel and all these bands that I've covered here on the channel, we talked about, I used to listen to, sure. That said, it's like, that was then, and this is now. And they're like, you know what? Nostalgia, let's bring it back. So they did the re-release of Count Your Blessings, which we're gonna check out in a later video from the standpoint of the shows, because the shows have been insane. But before we get into any of that, we're gonna check out Dehumanized. And Dehumanized is like the circle back to their origin point, their roots, where they got started. Let's get into it. Bring Me the Horizon, Dehumanized. Okay. All right, the visuals are disgusting. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can handle much more, but that we are all becoming dehumanized and then we hit this drop, the music is dope. That was super sick. Let's do that again. No, once more, a little bit further. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I mean, like when they released their first early tracks, like the thing that I had a tough time with Bringing the Horizon in the very beginning was like it was heavy and it was cool and I liked what they were doing, but I never really got so into it because the production value was so poor in the early days. And this is really cool because it's like a take on the old sound, but like produced properly, which is dope. Because back then when I heard Bringing the Horizon for the first time in high school, I thought it was cool, but I had so many other bands on the player that were doing something similar, but was also like way higher production value, like better produced, tighter recordings, you know, like just better engineered in every standpoint. It was tighter, it was to a click, it was the composition just like felt more professional. And like as a musician at that time, like I really didn't appreciate Bring Me the Horizon, I think, to the degree in which I later came to because of their evolution. Because in the early days it was just, yeah, the production wasn't up to par with like my standards personally. So this is cool to hear their original sound like properly put together. And I think like they've re-released a bunch of the songs, right? The video in the tunnel reminds me a lot of this You Only Live Once track by Suicide Silence. But like that was like probably the most amount of brutality that era ever really had. Like the level of brutality in that video where they're all on the firing range and the bullets are flying and by the end they're all just shot up and there's blood everywhere. That was like the upper limits of what I've ever seen in like a metal song, metal music video. Maybe you know of something from that era that was heavier. Comment down below if you do. But for me, in my journey through music, that was the upper limits. And this is just blowing the cap off of that 10 times over. Like this is just fucking crazy. I don't know, like I think they've really, at this point, they've really gone and done it. Like this is just, like I'm just here because I'm literally doing a reaction for this. But had I be checking out this track on my own, it would just be audio. There's no way I would expose myself to these visuals again. Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Okay, I'm starting to see something come through. I'm pretty sure Oliver Sykes is still vegan, right? Oliver Sykes is definitely still vegan. Is that the vibe here? Is that what they're getting at? Let's go ChatGPT and find out. I think that's what they're getting at, right? Like that's what they're saying. It's like a comparison to like the slaughterhouse, right? Like it's one thing when it's a cow, we don't care. But when you put the imagery, when you expose the same, like when you expose somebody to the visual of the human comparison, it's like a crime. Wow. Is Oliver Sykes still vegan? Yeah, Ollie has spoken extensively about becoming vegetarian at 16 after learning about factory farming and later transitioning to veganism around 2013 for ethical and health reasons. He has remained closely associated with veganism through his business, including the vegan venue Temple of Fun in Sheffield and his vegan-focused clothing brand initiatives. As recently as 2025 to 2026, vegan publications and social media posts have continued to describe him as vegan, and there have been no reliable reports of him changing his diet. So as far as the public records show, Oliver Sykes is still vegan. Wow, that's what this has got to be. Right? That's what they're saying here. That's what I'm picking up. Is like this dehumanized idea. You were born to suffer, you were bred to bleed, scraped from your mother's womb, meat for the machine. I nailed it, yes. Yeah, okay, so that's what's going on here. This is like a vegan, which is cool. I was vegan for 4 years. I'm not currently vegan anymore, but I guess it's a good thing that I'm seeing this because that's exactly what this is, right? This is totally a look at the factory farm, but from the standpoint of humans in the farm as opposed to cattle, or as opposed to lamb, or as opposed to chicken, or as opposed to whatever else we eat, right? Okay, I get it, and I actually kind of dig it now. Before it was just like horror for the sake of horror. It was gore for the sake of like fetish, and it was way too much for me. But now that I see that, I'm like, the context is landing like, oh, right. This is what my food goes through. Brutal. Yeah, look, there you go. Okay, vegan commentary. I'm totally with it. I've been eating meat, but I'm not proud of it, I have to say. I went 4 years vegan, and then Lindsay and I broke up, and she's still vegan. She's like she's like a vegan chef. She's incredibly good at preparing food, but has kind of specialized in making vegan food in particular. And I used to eat with her all of her vegan cooking. I'm not such a great chef, and I had a tough time when we broke up, kind of like feeding myself vegan food, just because, like, I don't know, I guess I just didn't take the effort. I should have. After we broke up, I got back into training my body. Before Lindsay and I broke up, I was very skinny. Like, I was the skinniest I had ever gotten down to. I was doing like 5-day water fasts in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. If you guys followed the other channel, you saw kind of like where my body got down to in size. I was very, very skinny. And a lot of people were like talking about how I was on drugs and how like I was falling apart and all these kinds of things. But no, I wasn't really. I was just on like a spiritual journey where I was trying to clean and clear my body of like all of the pain and suffering that I was carrying. And so I was vegan, but I was also doing fasting. And so I got very skinny, and I was just practicing yoga. I wasn't doing maybe sometimes some cardio, but I wasn't doing any weight training. And then we broke up, and I moved into a meditation center in the UK, just outside of Doncaster, called Gomde, Gomde, in the Hatfield Moor, just outside of Doncaster. And I lived there for 3 months. And while I lived there, I was meditating a lot, but I was also in their construction site. They were building a temple, and it wasn't actively being constructed while I was there, but there was lots of like bricks, and there was lots of different heavy objects that I could move around. So I would go out there in the evenings, and I would like train my body. I would like do workouts with bricks because it was what I had at the time. And I was really in a low place because my relationship with Lindsay had ended, and I had no direction of where to go in life. So the first thing I did was, okay, I have to get strong. I can't be physically frail. Like, I felt like I needed a strong mind and a strong body to be able to take on the next chapter of the journey. And as soon as I started with the weight training, as soon as I started with the resistance training in that construction site, I started craving eggs and I started craving milk. And right then is when I went vegetarian and started putting eggs on top of every meal and started drinking loads of milk. Like, it was crazy. I would drink like 4 or 5 liters of milk in one day at that time. And I don't know why. It was just like I was in such a state of repair and transition and ready to build a new life for myself that I felt like I need a strong body. And so with that came like all this milk and all this, and I just wasn't getting it. Like, it wasn't doing it to eat just plants at that that time. And then I met my current partner, Elizabeth, which you guys know here on the channel now because she's done a few videos, and she's Italian. I'm currently living in Italy with her. I came to Italy and I started eating meat again. I can't say I'm stoked on it. It feels good to be strong, you know, like I'm going to the gym maybe like 6 days a week. I'm even approaching like similar sizes to when I was at my biggest here on the channel. If you guys have been around for, you know, since the beginning, you know that at one point, like I was pretty serious about weight training. I even had some lifting videos here on the channel where I was breaking down how to grow your biceps, your triceps, your chest, and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm like back on that daily where I'm doing a lot of strength training. And with that strength training, I find that I'm eating quite a bit of meat. And now I'm sitting here watching this video and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, should I be doing this? I did a Vipassana in Chiang Mai, Thailand a few years ago. And while I was in that Vipassana, you know, in Vipassana, it's a 10-day silent meditation where you don't do anything but meditate straight for 10 days. It's like 10 hours a day for 10 days. You're just sitting in meditation. You don't have anything. You don't have a cell phone. You don't have a book. You don't have a journal. You don't have anything but yourself and sitting. That's it. Right? For 10 days. And you're not supposed to speak to people, but at one point in the Vipassana, I spoke to this guy who was also living there, meditating in this temple. And he was doing like a 40-day or a 30-day intensive meditation retreat where he was doing essentially a Vipassana, but it was like 30 days instead of 10. And we talked at one point and he told me he was vegan and he was upset with the temple for serving meat because they shouldn't do that. And I asked him like, what inspired you to go vegan? Because at the time I was vegan too. So I was like, what inspired you to go vegan? And he told me that he worked in a slaughterhouse in Australia. He's originally from Taiwan, but he lived in Australia for a while. And while he was down there, he picked up all kinds of odd jobs. And one of the ones that really just ruined him was slicing up lamb every day, was slicing up animal. And while he was working in the slaughterhouse, he told me that in the slaughterhouse, he would essentially he would watch and participate in the slaughter of 1,000 like lambs. I think it was lambs, 1,000 lambs every single day. And he said like the other guys in the slaughterhouse, like the other workers would just like play with the pieces of the animal. You know, like they would take the head and the skull and they would just toss it around like it was a football. And it was like this big joke, right? And he said like he couldn't handle the emotional weight of being in that space and justify ever eating animals again because of what being front lines to that activity did to his mental health and to the way he saw the world. He's like, I'm done with this. I never want to participate in anything to do with meat again. And so he's vegan and he'll forever be for sure. And this video just resonates with all of that because that's exactly what it is. It's literally showing us, okay, this is what it is to eat meat today, unless you live on a farm and you're killing the animal yourself, which is so few of us. For the majority of people in the Western world, this is what it is to eat meat. This is what you don't see, but this is what is actually happening. And the interesting part of this video is it hits even harder because of course, like you swap out the pig for the human and it's the same thing. Like it's a living being going through that every single day, millions and billions of times a day. Like the statistic is insane, right? Like let's look at how many animals are slaughtered daily. How many? According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization and other global livestock statistics, 220 million land animals are slaughtered every day worldwide. Food, that's roughly 75 to 80 billion per year. 80 billion animals are slaughtered every single year for our food consumption. 75 to 80 billion per year, 220 million land animals are slaughtered every day worldwide. Like those numbers are not even comprehensible. The amount of pain and suffering, like we saw in this video, that times 220 million every single day. That's crazy. Senseless violence for me was like way too much at the beginning of this reaction video. But then when I made that click and then I read those lyrics and now I'm like, okay, it's gotta be that. Even if it isn't, I don't care. It's my interpretation of it. I feel like it's pretty spot on. Like, let me know down below, has Oliver Sykes talked about the message of the imagery or the message of this song or anything like that? Or has it been published anywhere, like what he's really getting at? But I mean, what I'm saying is not so far off a possibility. I'm pretty sure this is what he's talking about. So heavy, 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 heavy stuff. But it's just something that like so much of the population is completely ignorant to. Just doesn't want to face. Like we have war in the world. Why? Well, because we're consuming suffering. We're consuming fear. Of course, it's going to manifest in our bodies and our minds and our relationships and our activities. It's going to come out. It doesn't go away. It's there. It permeates us. Can't cause this level of harm to a living being. Imprint it into its cellular structure. Imprint it into its literal like biochemistry and then consume that biochemistry and it not affect you. It's going to. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Very well done. Thank you, Bring Me the Horizon. One of the best bands on the planet. I swear to God, love these guys. So cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video and this my commentary on the song Dehumanized by Bring Me the Horizon. I'm gonna come back tomorrow with a Justin Bieber reaction to counterbalance the level of heavy that I just exposed myself to today. So just a heads up for everybody in the comment section that's upset that I listen to lighter music now. I will be including softer music on this channel. That's going to have to happen because the fact is that I'm in a softer phase of my life, and the heavy that I once enjoyed freaking myself out with in high school and that really resonated with a lot of the teenage angst and pain and anger that I carried in my system, it's just not there anymore. I'm on a different wavelength these days. So I'm back, yes, it's true, and we'll do a couple heavy songs here and there, but for the most part, like I'm not really in it to that same depth that we once were. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content nonetheless. I'm sure you will. Thanks for sticking around all these years, and I'll see you guys all very soon with something new.